Let's look at number 6. This is the most difficult problem on the homework. For every problem, we're going to write our given and what we want to find. And again, we're going to try and chunk it step by step. So it says a bus travels for 280 kilometers, so that's how far it goes. Along a straight path at an average velocity of 88 kilometers per hour to the south. The bus stops for 24 minutes. So what I see is that this bus has different segments. Like first they told me a first segment, so I'm going to call this X1 and V1. Then they told me it stopped. So over there, because I see that it stopped, now I have a time, and it stopped for 24 minutes. So I'm going to call that T2. Now right away I'm going to see this is kilometers, and this is kilometers per hour, and this is minutes. I always want my units to be the same. So even though my standard units are meters and seconds, if I look at the answers here, because these are kilometers per hour and kilometers, this probably needs to be changed to also hours. So if minutes is in the numerator, I'm going to put in the denominator, and from minutes to hour, 1 hour is 60 minutes. So when I do that on my calculator, 24 divided by 60, this comes out to be 0.4 hours. And if I don't convert it right away, then I'll see when I carry my units through that it doesn't work out. Then it says, then it travels 210 kilometers south. So now it's giving me, and don't forget here it stops, so I'm going to write V2 is equal to 0 because it's not moving and it stops. So the next part, it travels now in 210, so I'm going to call that X3 is 210 kilometers. And then they tell me that the velocity during that part of the trip is 75 kilometers per hour. And I'm going to call this V3. Now what I didn't do before is I think to help you conceptualize my trip has 3 segments. I'm going to call 1, 2, and 3. And for each of my 3 segments, I can then talk about my displacement, my velocity, and my time. And I think by looking at it this way, it's going to help me to understand this problem. Okay? Because the question now asks me to find, it says find the total time, which would be T total. And then it also says to find the next part, what is the average velocity for the whole entire trip. So when I look at this, I see that I'm missing things. So to find the total time, first you have to find the time for each interval. I need to find the time for 1, 2, and 3, and I add them up, and I'll get the total time. So to get the total time, T total, if I have T1 plus T2 plus T3, I'll have my answer and I'll be done. The problem is, if I look at my chart, for the first part of the trip, I have the displacement and the velocity, and I don't have the time. Can I find the time? Sure, because my equation says that, my basic equation says that V is equal to X over T. I took the deltas out. So T is equal to X over V. So for T1, it's going to be X1 over V1. So it's going to be 280 kilometers per second over 88 kilometers. This is just kilometers, sorry. Kilometers per hour. So 280 divided by 88 is equal to 3.18. So we're going to say 3.2 hours. Now to check my work, a kilometer divided by a kilometer per hour is a kilometer times an hour over a kilometer. So these cancel and I end it with hours, which is the correct unit. So T1 is 3.2. T2 is 0.4. And then for T3, I do the same thing. So if V is x over t, T3 is equal to x3 over V3, which is 210 kilometers divided by 75 kilometers per hour, which comes out to be 2.8 hours. So this is 2.8. And now, to get my total, I add them up. 3.2 plus 0.4 plus 2.8, and my total time comes out to be 6.4 hours. Okay, so now the next part says what's V total. So V total is going to be the total displacement over the total time. So that's going to be x1 plus x2 plus x3 over t1 plus t2 plus t3. Now I already found this. I already know this is 6.4. So now I have to find x. Well, I know that x1 was 280. x2, what's x2? 0, because it's not moving, it's stopped. And then x3 is 210. And that's it. So 280 plus 210 is 490 divided by 6.4. So it comes out to be, it comes out to be 77 kilometers per hour. Now, the reason I drew the chart on the top was to help you conceptualize. There's 3 separate parts of the trip, and each part has its own distance, time, and velocity.